Welcome everyone back to the channel. Today we've got some new products and we're catching some fish on a waggler. So what I'm going to do is run you through what we've got, what we're doing, and then we're going to have a little fish and show you how enjoyable it's been today. Now, fishing the waggler is probably one of my favourite methods, but with this time of year, it's early spring, we're not going to be fishing with our normal pellet wagglers, or balsa wagglers, or foam wagglers with the thick tops, casting regular. We're still going to be feeding regular. I'll just keep it topped up now. But we're not going to be fishing with our foam and balsa with the big thick tops and keep casting, keep fishing that way. We're going to a bit refined today. Now I'm on the clay pit, and this is a fantastic venue for catching sheller. Because it's so deep, the fish naturally want to live probably I say around 4 to 8 foot. So to target these fish in the open water on a waggler is a great tactic, and it's just a great day's fishing you can have. So my setup, I'm going to run it through now. Now, from a rod, you may think this is a bit long, but I've got a 13-foot rod today. This is a Superior 13 foot. Now, the reason I've got 13 foot is because I could be casting in from depths, say from 2.5, 3 foot up to 10 foot. I don't know where them fish are going to be sat. They could be sat 2.5 foot, they could be sat 6 foot, which is a roughly where I start. There's a good depth to catch these carp on this venue, but you could be catching in 10 foot. You don't know. There's a cold wind on today. The fish, they might have dropped deeper. They might not want to come up to 6, 7 foot, even 3 foot. So all this rod with the extra length enables me to do is fish a bit deeper. Now in the summertime, yes, I will be fishing them 11 foot Superior, just because you're only going to be fishing 2.5 foot really. You're never going to be fishing any deeper than that. So that's why I've got the longer rod. But down to the waggler itself. Now this is just simply a Duro Wag from Preston, a 4 gram this one. Now there's a few aspects about this float and the way it's set up which are will make your fishing a lot easier. Now with the waggler itself, they come in a few different sizes and types. Now I've just picked up 2 types there. I've got one with just a solid top, and then I've got one with an insert. Now on the days where the fish are being quite finicky, maybe you're fishing deeper, what I spoke about, where the shy little dips, you might want to use the insert. But if you need to see your float, say there's a slight chop on today coming across the peg, so it might be hard to see the visibility of that float. So if you want a bit thicker top, or the fishing's really good, you can use the thicker one like we got on today, because of the wind today, and the fishing's quite good today. So that's why we've got that. Now another little feature I really like about these floats is they've got interchangeable discs on them. So what I mean by this is the float can spin off. You can take, there's 3 little silver discs on there, and you can vary the weight. So what happens is, I'll speak about what's further down my rig, but with this float I can just literally pop this on with 2 number 8 shots down the line and my little quick change swivel at the bottom, and that's dotted down to a pimple. But if I chuck this waggler on, it might be just slightly overshot and I can't see it. So all I've done is literally spun it off, took a disc off, and I can see that float perfectly. Now you heard me mention I've just simply got a number 8 there, which is probably about 2.5 foot from the hook, and I've got 118 inches, and then I've got a 1-foot hook length there, but I've got a quick change swivel, just allows me to change the hook length. Say if the fishing gets really good and I can get away with 0.15, 0.17, then I'll change that, because you can get them in really quick and you're not going to get broken, you're not running the risk of it. We've had a few fish pull the rod today as well, so you're not going to get snapped on that. And then it's just, I've got a 1-foot hook length of 0.13, that's a KKM on there with a band. Now we've just been banding, and I have a 6mm fishery pellet or a little Robin Red one from Sonia Baits. That's a really good hook bait, little red pellet. We've just been banding one of them on the hook. Now one thing I haven't touched on, which is new, is the new Float Max line on my little magnitude here. Now I didn't touch on it because it's really important. I want to speak about it because it's brand new and it's the first time I've actually fished with it, and I'm really impressed. Now one thing to look for in a line, which when I took it off the spool this morning, wound it up, is all I want from the line is it to be versatile and durable. So I want to be able to cast my waggler with ease. I want to make sure the line's all straight, so I can, if I get any to pull the rod, I can hook them. And also I spoke about I'm moving the depths a lot today, so I've got that probably set 5 foot, 6 foot at the minute, because we'll be catching a few carp, and that's the best depth for them we found today. I'm just going to feed the peg, just want to make sure, keeping it fed. There's a rain of 6 mils going through. But I've been moving it a lot, so I've been moving my float stops up and down the line, and this line just lets them glide up and down. They don't move, so they're nice in place, but when you want to move them, they don't cause friction on your line. The last thing you want to do, and say if you're in a match or even a pleasure session, is come down now, literally pick your rubbers up, spin them up, move your depth, and it snaps off, because that's going to waste time. It's just going to be really frustrating. But see, you don't need to move with these, and that's one thing nice about it. Also, one thing new for me today, I haven't used the magnitudes before. I've got one here, I've got a magnitude 320. Now, I've spooled it up before, and what a lovely little reel this is. Now, I've chose to use a 320 today just because it's nice and light, it's small and compact, and fishing waggler. Now, we may be fishing, you may not call it conventional pellet waggler style, but we're still in and out quite fast and efficient. We're still catching loads of fish, so you don't want to be lugging around a dead heavy or bigger reel. Just want a nice little one, gets away with it there. Got 018, which is the 4-pound Float Max line on, so that's the setup. As I said, just feeding some 6 mils from the fishery, and then rather mixing it up, rather than put a 6 mil to match the hatch basically, or we've had a few carp on a red one, so just stands out. The water is still clear in this venue. It's probably, you can see, 4 foot down when you're playing the fish, so you don't want to, if the fish wants sight and want to see a little red fleck coming through and they snatch it, it's just, if you keep getting bites. Now, I just keep it topped up. That's what we don't want to lose them. Now, you may notice I've got a feeder arm with a feeder rest on. You may be thinking, well, he's fishing the waggler. Well, basically, all this enables me to do is put my waggler on and feed. As I said before, it's not, we've had a few pull the line, yes, it's going to happen. It's really good fishing today, but with this style of fishing, you're not trying to looking to catch on the splash. We're literally, the little process we're doing is throwing it past our feed, reeling it into our feed, and sitting there with the rod on the rest and waiting. Now, the rest is really nice. It's just a flat rest. There's no curves and ridges which my line may get caught on, because it's the one thing with waggler fishing, it surprises you. So you sit there, drop your rod, you feed, and as you're feeding, your float will go and you'll literally strike like that. You'll strike, and what can happen is, you can, if the line's caught around a ridge and it's not a smooth rest, it could snap off, and that's the last thing you want, because again, you're starting to set up your rig again, and that's what you want. But that's what all I've got. And also what I want to mention is, because I'm using a 13-foot rod today, I've got my excess response at full length. Because it's a longer rod, the fish is going to come out further than what it would with a shorter rod, so it just enables me to literally scoop the fish with ease. But one thing I will say is, don't lift up the landing net, because it could cause your landing net to snap. Literally shimmy it down. I'll show when I catch a fish, and lift it up by the block on your landing net, so you don't get any accidents or damage to your landing net handle, because they're quite expensive and you need them because you'll be catching loads of fish. So like I said, that's enough chit chat. We're going to get some fishing done now, because it's been really good, and I want to show you how great this lake can be. I know I bang on about it, it's my favourite lake. It's because it's such a versatile. Come a few months ago, we were fishing for roach and skimmers on the bottom, and today we're catching carp and F1s on a refined pellet waggler, should we say, on new line, new little reel I've got, and on a 13-foot rod. So enough of that, let's get on there now. Right, so that's enough chit chat now, let's get some fishing done. So I'm going to slip, for the first go, I'm going to slip that nice big 6 mil on there. It goes on the band dead easy. Now, what I'm going to do, because I haven't been fishing for a while, just going to feed before I chuck out. So literally, get to there, pull my catty back, and that's where I'm feeding. Now, 6 mils, you might ask how far I'm fishing today. I'm literally fishing, say, as far as I can feed my 6 mils, so 25 metres. So all I'm going to do, I have to watch the tree above me and I'll catch it. Chuck my waggler in there and just straighten out my line. And I'm straightening out my line because, like I said before, I've had a few fish where it's obviously falling down in the water. Oh, there you go, straight away. But I've had a few fish where it's falling through the water, and they took it like that and they pulled the rod tight. But this could be a small F1, but what a start that is. I did say it has been really good fishing, but say the reel, lovely little reel. I'm really impressed with this line. It's just so, last thing I want is something to let me down. That's the only thing I want in my fishing, is it not to let me down. Going mad. Just nice soft, and what I spoke about is the fish coming about a little bit further than it would normally. So that's what I've got the long landing net handle for, and I'll show you what I mean by don't lift your landing net handle. So our last thing I want to do now is lift that landing net handle right up. All I'm going to do, slide it back and pull it up to the top. Now that's not really the massive fish. It's a nice little F1, but it's not a big carp, so I'm not going to hold it by the block here. But you can get away with holding it a bit further down, but if you're unsure, just hold it by the block and you won't cause any damages. So just going to check that pellet, still intact, didn't have long really. Now maybe that was a little process, it was the good. So what we're going to do is do it again. Simply fire your pellets out. You've just got to be careful, that tree, some overhanging line. There you go. Just straight in there, the waggler. Just make sure your line's tight to your float. So what I mean by this is, so if the line's not tight to your float, you might not be able to hit them bites which are quite finicky or quite fast, or you might miss them ones that pull your rod. So a few liners today, just because the fish is so good. So what I want to do is determine which depth they're at. Now I know from previous experience on this venue, if I fish 6 foot, I'm likely to catch carp. So I'm likely to get a good battle with a nice big mirror or a common from the clay pit, which is what I enjoy catching down here, to be fair. Or because we're feeding so regular, we can get them miss bites like this from the F1s. So what you want to do, you can't really have the best of both worlds and catch both. You've got to decide what's in your peg and change it to suit. So I'm just gonna make sure that line's tight just in case one pulls the rod in. It's a bit mad really, early spring, and we're talking about getting the rod pulled round like pellet waggler fishing in the summer, but it seems to be ravenous at the minute on this clay pit. They're just waking up. But keep that loose feed going in all the time. So you've got to be the same feeding rate as a pellet waggler in the summer, but you're letting your bait almost hang there for a fish to intercept it. Just seen one swirl at the back of that. Going on there. Oh, I might be shelling this up in a second, but we're gonna have one more chuck like this, try and catch that one that's swirling round. Crazy. But like I said, keep feeding. I always like to feed twice as well. Right round the float, so I'd say we're probably going to have an indication from that feed because it was right round the float. There's obviously a few fish there, a little dip, and then there's a few fish there because I just see one sticking its head out of the water. But say we can always shallow up to start with, but I do want to try and catch one of them big carp, or them. They're like 4 to 6 pound, but they're so angry. It's just like a battle to catch them. I'm going to have one more chuck at this depth, and I'm going to take about a foot off, just because I think there's some F1s there and we don't want to be missing bites, we want to catch some fish. So just keep busy, keep feeding, keep that column going for the water, because the lakes are the lake is so deep. You're going to have to keep constant rain. There you go. Wow, that's better. See what I mean? If that, with my rest then, I don't know what this is, feels, that rest, if I had loads of ridges, like you see the feeder one, and that's perfect for the feeder. And this is a feeder one really, when people are fishing with braid and they're fishing on natural venues, but also it can be used as a little waggler one. There's not many places where your line can get trapped, there's hardly any, to be fair. And that's what you want, you just want just ease and no hassle. I'd like try and pulling back this one. I hope this is a big carp. With my fishing, I just try and keep it dead simple, not overcomplicate it, and not have gear that's too here, there, and everywhere. So I'm not going to fish 020 mainline for any other waggler fishing. I'm not going to fish then the next side. I'm just going to keep it all simple. Do this style of fishing, 018. It's nice and strong. Not going to get broke. You've got your clutch set nice there. You've got your backwind on. I have my backwind on as well, so you're not going to get broke off anything. I'll probably jinx myself now and get snapped in this fish, but remember, you've got a nice soft rod. It's one of the softest in the range. I think it's 2 to 10 grams, so it's the softest, but this is what I mean by these carp. Look at this, it's giving me a right old scrap. Like I said, now I've caught this one, I might just take a bit of depth off and catch him, but it might even be an F1, but give me an arm and a good ache. Like I said before, if fishing's a bit tricky, you're fishing a bit deeper, you can get the insert on, but it's been really good today, as you can see. Had a few missed bites, we've had a fish, we got this one on now, so this little straight one with nothing on it, yeah, it's one of them ones I wanted. Ooh. Look at that. These are exactly what I mean, look at that thing. Gonna hold him up for you. That is what we come for. Nice big, because the water's so clear, try and hold him up, he's a bit lively. Water's so clear, nice big mirror, but nice and orange, and there's some fish there, but that's what we've come for. You can see what you can catch. If you come down the pleasure session here and caught one of them, or a few of them in a session, can't beat it. But that's having a nightmare with me rest then, if you want it straight. Now I'm going to try, I'm not going to shallow up again, just going to see if I get some bites, but I'm just going to try a red pellet this time. Little change baits, a little red pellet there, whacked it on. So what I'm going to try and do is cast past where my feed goes. Try not to hit that tree again. That's a bad cast, that one. Clip that line up there. But just check my pellets on. So what I'm going to do is try and cast past where I'm feeding, reel it down so it's all tight, put it on my rest so everything's neat, and if I get the fish take the line I can easily just pick it up, give myself a chance. But try not to speak when that motorbike's going past. I think he's gone now. I always get it down here when a motorbike goes past. It's a slight issue, but so you've got to keep that constant feed going in, just because you can't determine where the fish are. The fish could be at 3 foot, they could be at 6 foot, they could drop down to 10 foot, come back up. But with a constant rain of bait, you can generally judge where the fish are coming from. Like I said, I know from past experience, indication then, this lake, if you start at 6 foot, you won't really go far wrong. Don't get me wrong, if you don't get any bites and you're not catching, try a bit deeper, because that's where the fish might be. But generally, the 6 foot and above. As you can see, we've had the fish milling around on the top, thinking he's in the middle of June, but just want to keep looking for signs of any fish. Don't leave it in too long, but one little trick as well, if you just literally give it a wind up so your bait flutters up, and that's been really good today. You can get a quick bite off that, get a quick bite off it. There we go. So I had a bite then, but I think I'm a bit too deep still, so I'm going to have one last chuck, try and get an indication to make me move it, and then I've just caught that tree again. Just check my baits on, that's all I want to do. Last thing I want is to chuck it out with no bait on, because be a wasted chuck, but I'm going to keep going. There we go. Keep that rain going in. You're still busy, you're still dead active, but oh, see that then? Tighten my line up that one. That's what you want in Pellet Waggler. I think it could be a little F1, but look at that. That's the actually one. It made me jump, that one actually. I was just putting my catapult down. But watch this fella. Can't believe it made me jump. See, you can have a brilliant day. You see that line? Ooh, red pellet on there. That's one of the... But look at that. I love how golden they are. I don't know if you can tell how golden that one is, but it's got a little orange thing on him, but that is unreal. I know he's only about a pound and a bit, but oh, catch him, he's lovely. And he pulled the rod tight, so we don't mind any fish that does that. So I'm going to have one more and then I'm going to call it a day, I think. But try a red one again because it's nice and successful. But I'm just going to try that old trick. So I'm going to literally feed and then draw my float into it. So it gives me a target to where to cast to. Just give myself a drop. Try and dodge that tree again. I've actually gone straight into it. Just check that. Just check your waggler's not moved, but so literally just gonna have this chuck now. Try and straighten that line, so like if that fish again pulled the line tight, you can get that effect. Saves you a strike, doesn't it? So literally keep feeding. Just keep your eye on the float. Got your hand on the rod at all times. It goes like that. I'm literally going to shallow that up because I generally think they are a bit shallower than what they are. So, like I said before, that line just lets you move them stops with ease. That's what you want. You don't want to be worrying about your line causing you an issue when you don't want to be in the mid-match and then just pop your line or snap your line. So just check your lines all nice. One just tapped at the back of the feed there. So just cast past your feed, reel it into it, so remember all your lines tight, and just keep loose feeding. So it's not like your summer bagging, where you'd be like, now you'd be waiting 10 seconds, reel it back, start again. Just because we're fishing a bit deeper and a bit more stealthy, we can leave it in there a bit longer, but still the same principle of casting, feeding all the time, trying to draw the fish up into the upper layers. Ooh, needing liner then again. So you're getting indications, it's a good sign as fishing your peg. That's what it's all about. That tree is zoomed in a little bit. A bit short because that tree. Like I said, just check your upbait. And I'm just going to swap it to a normal pellet. Try and catch one more because it's starting to give rain now. The last thing we want. Get soaking wet. So try and catch one quickly. One thing, you can see your line, so I can see my line straight to the float now. So if a fish nips at me up bait or I get a bite, I can connect to it straight away with ease. try. Hopefully I can get one before the rain comes. Now if you don't think your pellet or your waggler's in the right place, it's literally, you can just keep doing it again, keep coming back, chuck it in the right place. There's a little strip of brown where I've been fishing, so I know roughly where I am. Keep feeding in that area. So it's just a big column of pellets going through all the time. And what you'll find is the fish will just come in and out of it. There you go, that's one. Feels like a roach. It's coming towards me, this one. You can even catch roach on 6mm, look at that one. These deserves to be in the other video, that one. On the old deep water one, but we'll put him back. Right, we'll try and catch one more. That's not a roach. But, like I said, chucked it in the spot. Just check my stops. With the stops, just make sure you have a little gap so it allows your pellet to be nice, pellet waggler to be nice and free. There you go, a straight line. Reel it down into the rest. Pick the catty up. Just got the larger one of the 2 red catapults today. Just go fires your bait out there with these. You can fish it at that range with these. Ooh. One swirling again for that one. So, again, just repeat it. If you miss one, don't be too bothered. Make sure it's all tight. So, and one last chuck. Come on, we've got to get one now. Said if you don't feel like your waggler's in the right place, you can literally just whiz it back and do it again. But one thing that 0.18 waggler line, because it's so light, you can fish a lot lighter wagglers than you need to with heavier line. So what I mean by this is, for example, if you're fishing with £6, I might not be able to cast my 4-gram waggler this far, which would be a pain because you want to get with the lightest waggler you can get away with, really. But because I'm fishing with a 4-gram waggler and I've got 0.18 mainline on, it allows me just to cast further distance with a lighter waggler, which in theory will get me more bites. And you've got the strength there, not too, don't worry about because it's £4 you can't fish for big fish for it. You've got the strength there. Ooh. I'm not sure that was a line or a bite then. I'm saying you've got the strength in the line. So literally just have faith in your gear and use a lighter waggler. Say if there wasn't much skim on today, there you go, there's one. Skim on today, feels a nice fish. You'll probably get away with the 3-gram jaw waggler, so it's just about fishing your conditions. If it was really windy and I was over there in the far side where the wind is, feel like an F1 this one. Well, that's what I mean. F1s are a little bit shallower than the carp. If I was to fish 6 foot and persevere, I'd probably catch more carp, have a lot more fun, but you've got to have these F1s. They give you so many indications, just showered up, and eventually constant feeding, constant making sure our bait's in the right place. We've got one, but it'd probably be a carp now. I'm not very good at this, the old guessing game. But like I said, if I was over there in the wind, I might have to fish a 5-gram jaw waggler. But I'm not in the wind, I've got it off my back slightly, and it's coming across me there, so I can get away with a 4-gram and cast it further because I've got that 18 mainline on, but just take your time with them. It's important to have your clutch set. To have your clutch set just so it ticks over when the fish nods its head. The last thing you want, I'm only fishing 013 and like 018 mainline, I don't want to be pulling their heads off. Got a nice soft rod, but you see, I think this must be a carp now. I tell you what, I'm not even going to guess in the future because I never get it right. But it doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's that roach or a big carp, but like I say, it's probably a carp because it's having me all over the shop and it's like bullying me. But it's what they do in this clay pit. They're just angry, wild fish. Just love diving down to the bottom where it's dead deep. But we get them under control now. Under control is just pulling my arm off, you know. Get that aching of your arm. That's what it feels like at the minute. I haven't even seen him. But just shows how good the fishing is on here. If that's come 3 foot up, 3 foot, 4 foot to intercept some 6 mils. And summertime pellet waggler fishing is on its way. But if you're getting a little refined, now you can fish this on the bottom. It doesn't have to be shallow. You can fish it on the bottom. Well, general waggler fishing, it's not a set rule. It's got to be half depth. You can fish it on the bottom. And if you get some liners and indications, come off, but the rain's coming down now. Just don't want to lose him. He's having me all over the shop. Arm bending. When you first hook into them, they don't, because you're so far out, you don't feel like they're going to give you too much bother, but this one's having a right merry dance. I've only seen the float twice. So I've got my clutch set nice and loose. Not too loose so it's not stupid. There's pressure there, but if he runs and nods his head, look at that there. Oh yeah, it's another one of them mirrory ones. Like I said, if I didn't have that long landing net handle, I wouldn't be able to got in then. They'd probably had me go around again and again and again and be here for 10 more minutes. But I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. If I went to lift him up now, he'd probably snap my landing net handle. So what I'm going to do, just shimmy him along in between your knees, keep him in the water, and literally grab your block and lift him up. Now, what a fish that is. Just going to hold him up. Not bad for springtime. Say 4 foot deep on a waggler, on our pellets, here at the clay pit. But try and get him out. Show you what fantastic fishing you can have if you get your tactics right. But really enjoy using the line. I think it'll be in my armoury now. Not had any problems with it. And really enjoyed using it. But I just wanted to show you guys how good this clay pit is. I know I bang on about it all the time, but it is fantastic. I'm going to slip him back now and keep on enjoying my day. Thank you for watching, guys. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification so you don't miss any future videos.